Hello, everybody. My name is Astrid Mathiassen. I'm working with you on the IASC survey from Statistics Norway. So in this presentation, I will guide you through which type of information we need to measure access to electricity. As you may recall from the first presentation giving the motivation for the survey will collect information to calculate access to energy as a binary yes-no variable, as well as in a multi-tier framework, which is measuring degrees of access to electricity. The first way of measuring access requires few questions, whereas the latter require most of the questions in the household questionnaire section C to F. To seek out the binary access variables, households are asked about their source of electricity in the first part of section C. The communities are asked about sources of electricity available in this and in neighbor communities in the community questionnaire section, question D1. The community information is used to calculate the indirect access to electricity. It takes many more questions to calculate access to electricity in the multi-tier framework. This table illustrates what it takes to be placed in a given tier for each dimension. Tier 0 define lowest level and tier 5 the highest. You don't have to get a thorough understanding of this table. We just want to give you an idea for how the information we collect are going to be used. For an interested student, we can share a more detailed explanation in a separate document. As mentioned in the first presentation, there are 7 attributes or dimensions for access to electricity. Not all dimensions, however, are relevant for all sources of electricity. The 7 attributes are as follows. Capacity captures the power capacity for the energy source. Availability or duration capture availability in terms of hours of electricity in the household. Reliability is relevant for grid only and captures how reliable the connection is. Quality is relevant for grid only and captures the quality in terms of voltage of the connection. Affordability captures whether a household can afford a standard level of expenditure to electricity. And formality or legality is relevant for grid only and captures whether the household is legally connected to the grid. Health and safety is relevant for grid and electric generator only and capture health risk related to use of electricity in the household. Each household is classified in each of these dimensions in 6 tiers or levels. The household is given an overall classification based on the 7 dimensions. If, for example, the capacity of the electricity source is high, but it is very unreliable, the household will, in an overall multi-tier framework, still be classified in a low tier. The questions needed for tier calculation is organized according to electricity source. The main source categorizations are grid, solar home system, solar multi-light product, solar lantern, electric generator, externally charged battery, or no electricity. Each household is only asked about further follow-up questions for the main source of electricity. The questions to collect information necessary to calculate the tiers are sometimes captured differently for the different sources. Capacity is an example on where the information needed varies depending on the sources of electricity used in the household. The approach to collect what is needed to measure a capacity was explained in the previous presentation. Availability is a much easier dimension to measure. Households are asked how many hours of electricity are available in 24 hours and how many hours electricity are available after dark. Households with low availability are classified in low tiers for this dimension. Reliability is relevant only for grid. The households having grid as the main electricity source is asked about the number of blackouts in the last 7 days and the total duration of these blackouts. Households with many blackouts lasting for a long time are classified in a low tier for this dimension. Also, the quality dimension is relevant for grid only. Quality of electrical supply is defined in terms of fluctuating voltage for grids. The question that is used to capture this is whether any appliances got damaged the last 12 months due to voltage going up and down. Electricity is defined as affordable if the cost of 365 kilowatt hours per year is less than 5% of household income. Household income per year is defined in the consumption module. There are two alternatives of calculating the cost for 365 kilowatt hour per year. The cost may be calculated from national prices on low-level grid electricity or by calculating the average payment for prepaid electricity among the households in the survey that made such payment. Health and safety should be addressed for grid and electric generator, defined based on accident with electrical systems. The question is whether in the last 12 months, were any injuries or deaths due to the electrical technology. This is defined in C48 for grid and in C110 for electric generator sets. Households are placed in high tiers if there are no accidents and in tiers 0 to 3 if there are accidents. The information mentioned so far in this presentation is covered in the section C to F in the household questionnaires and used to calculate tiers. In addition, some other information is collected in the same section to understand barriers and drivers to facilitate shift to modern electricity. These questions aim to understand what is the average cost of setting up different electricity source? What is the cost of battery, lamp, fuel for households without electricity? And what is the willingness to pay for grid connection or solar home system? And there are questions on how satisfied households are with their electricity source, as well as the main problem with the different electricity sources. Finally, respondents are asked about expectation on grid connection and reasons for not being connected. Thank you for your attention.